If HR is eating up your week, or you're worried that something's falling through the cracks, then this month's HR Hot Topics all around outsource HR is one you're not going to want to miss. Let's jump in. And welcome to the May edition of HR Hot Topics. I'm your host, Jodi Schafer, and as you'll notice, we have a very special guest with us today. We've got Terese Dragonetti. She is the newest team member of the HRM Services team, and as we've done in past videos, anytime we have a new team member, we throw them right into the fire, and we tell them to come on camera, which is a really nerve-wracking thing for folks that don't do this every month like I do. But we wanted Terese to come on and talk today specifically about outsourcing HR functions, because that really is her area of focus here at HRM. We have a brand new service line that launched this year, 2026, where we can we can take on all HR functionality for a client. We've been asked to do this for years, and we've always said, thanks, no, not our space. We would prefer to just do strategic and project-based work. But the time has come, and now that we have Terese on board, we can do so with confidence and have the capacity to help any client that has a need for that. So we thought we'd focus today's video on outsourcing, what it means, and how it might benefit your organization, and then some criteria for you to be thinking about if you're trying to pick the right partner for you. So with that, I'll introduce and kick it to Terese here, and maybe a good place to start is, can you just talk a little bit about what does that mean to outsource your HR? And what kinds of things would a client be thinking about that might fall in that bucket?
Sure. So when you're thinking about outsourcing your HR, you're really thinking about adding additional support to your team and allowing somebody else to come in and have ongoing support for you on these HR needs that sometimes can feel like these extra things that were added to your plate. Right. And so we're going to come in and help you with that. And this is a relatively common approach that people use in other areas of their business, like say outsourcing marketing or even some accounting functions, where you can just add in some external help for some of these processes.
And so HR can mean a lot of things to a lot of people. And depending on the size and the scope and the complexity of your business, this list may be longer or shorter. And that's the beautiful thing, I think. When you find the right partner, you can really direct or customize the specific areas that you want help with, but it's on an ongoing basis so that you have that level of familiarity with the individual who's guiding you and comfort that it's being done and done well. So maybe, Terese, we can just kind of go through a short list of some of the tasks, the HR tasks that might fall under an outsourcing arrangement.
Absolutely. And HR is on a short list by any means,
it's not.
But some of the things we can help you with is recruiting and hiring. Yep. And then, of course, some onboarding support. You want to set up an employee for success on their first day, and that often takes a lot of time. Yep. Sometimes people don't have.
And specific like workflows and processes, and it goes beyond just signing the forms to get them into payroll.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, more than just doing the required tax forms. Yeah, right. Really getting them set up for success. Having some checklists probably that you might not already have, so we can help with that kind of thing. Also additional personnel issues, leave requests or accommodation requests, which are sometimes unfamiliar to people.
Can be challenging for folks.
Benefit administration. So there's lots that can fall into this bucket of outsourced support.
Okay. You know, one of the things that we get calls about a lot on the strategic side is real-time employee relations assistance. So you sort of mentioned that. So in an outsourcing arrangement, you would have a dedicated, HR professional. In this case, it's Terese on our team, who helped build all of your workflows, helped draft your policies if you didn't have them, is really the face and the voice that your employees know and go to for questions, issues, et cetera. But one of the key things that I think also a strong professional could bring to your organization is management support. So when you have supervisors, leaders, I know there are a lot of you that watch these videos, and you have an employee relations issue and you're like, I just wish I could bounce this off of somebody, or I think this might be a risky one. I just want to run it by someone. HRM services has been providing that support for clients for years. But in an outsourcing arrangement, that's what you can go to your professional for, and they know these people, right? And they know your policies. And so your managers, I think, also can get a level of support and confidence and even skill set development that maybe is lacking right now when you don't have that dedicated expertise on staff.
Sure. And it also helps. A lot of these times, these managers are experiencing things maybe for the first time.
Yep.
So it's not necessarily always a lack of skill. It's just a lack of having ever experienced it before.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
And so being able to talk to somebody who has experienced it before or similar situations is incredibly helpful.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's talk about some of the benefits of outsourcing, and then maybe we can talk about how to decide if it's right for you. Mm-hmm. So right now, for some of you listening to this, HR is done by one person or maybe two or three people. It's sort of split. It often resides in the finance department because that's usually the department that's processing payroll. So they just sort of give HR tasks to those individuals. And when the organization is small and the number of employees is small, the complexity is fairly small, it can be done that way pretty effectively, honestly. You could get 80, 90% of the general tasks accomplished. And then as long as you had a partner that you could reach out to when needed, that is a perfectly acceptable format for how to manage your HR. But as your business grows and as people's plates get more and more full, or the level of complexity, the level of risk increases, that's oftentimes when employers start to feel the pain, sort of the pinch of like, how do I keep all these balls in the air? And so one of the benefits of outsourcing your HR is that essentially you get external expertise of a very high level at a fraction of the cost. Because perhaps you don't have 40 hours worth of HR work every single week for this person to do. And yet if you were to try to hire that expertise and bring them in-house, you'd have to fill their plate. You'd have to pay their full salary plus any benefit costs, et cetera. Somebody's going to have to oversee them. And if they're supposed to be the expert in HR, who on the team is going to make sure that they know what they're doing? And what happens if they leave? So there's this cost benefit analysis that I think is helpful depending again on your size. If you don't have enough work, HR work for an in-house person full time, then fractional or outsource is a great opportunity for you. I would say redundancy is another one. If this was an in-house position and there was only one and they leave or they go on a medical leave, like who knows how to do that work? And so that's a real burden, I think, for employers sometimes. So in an outsourced situation, your vendor, your partner is building in that redundancy so that from the client side, you don't miss a beat. You're working with several of our clients right now in this outsourced capacity. Are there other benefits that you see, things that they have, commented on, or right away, like you're bringing to the table that wasn't there before?
Yeah, and I think you touched on it a little bit, which is when you're a growing company, you may have had processes in the beginning that really worked for you. And then as you grew, nobody really had the time or capacity to update those processes or change them for the number of employees you have now. So a lot of it's actually just efficiency and building processes that either are too old or haven't been updated in a long time, or maybe they just don't have them. They might not have experienced it yet. So really putting processes in place for you so that they can be used and they can be updated, and they're there for you. Yeah. And so having those in place is huge. And a lot of times people don't always they're already treading water a little bit to even do the functions. Yeah. So they don't really have the time to update or create these processes in the background, but we do.
Or even know, technology offers a lot of solutions. But if you don't even know which technology options are out there or how they best integrate so that you don't have duplication of effort or manual entry or any of those kinds of things. So the documentation and creation of workflows, but I think also that integration of best practices, technology when appropriate. And then the ability to, as you keep growing, right, you might get to a point where you're like, you know what, actually, we're ready to bring this in-house. Well, now you have a structure and a system already built. So it's much easier for that in-house person to walk in on day one. And your outsourcing partner could potentially be the one that trains that new in-house person. Right. And then it's the backup. And then the final benefit I would just call out, although it's probably very obvious, is that when you are hiring an external partner to help you and to bring outside expertise to something, whether it's marketing or bookkeeping or HR, hopefully you're sleeping better at night from the compliance standpoint, that you know that this person is up to date on all of the rules, regulations, changes, et cetera, so you don't have to manage that. So lots of benefits, right? And that's why we have a lot of clients that are excited about this new service line, and we're loading Terese's plate up here, so that's great. I want to just leave you with a couple of things to help decide if outsourcing is right for you, if you're listening to this. One, we already talked about capacity and bandwidth. If you're struggling with that, you just feel like there are too many balls in the air and not enough people to do it, then that might be a time to consider outsourcing at least some of those functions that Terese hit on. Another one, and Terese, you hit this too, is kind of that growth stage, right? You might be growing, you might be shrinking. And so having an option that's very flexible with you, I think, is big. The risk and compliance piece, if you're feeling like, gosh, I just don't know if we're doing it right, or I don't know if we're doing all the things, it's good to get another set of eyes on that. Best practices, you mentioned that, right? Yep. Workflows, technology, et cetera. And if you want your managers to be more effective, more consistent, having that external partner that's there on a very consistent basis can also help with that. Right. So anything I've missed? Any other considerations?
Oh, I'm sure there's many more that our clients discover along the way.
Maybe they'll tell us. Maybe I missed one. I do think that finding the right partner is key. This is not a one-size-fits-all. There are many HR firms out there and professionals that offer this sort of service, and I think it's key that you find somebody that you feel like really aligns with your approach to your people and kind of how your value proposition and how you see yourself situated within the market, because your people practices should be reinforcing those, cornerstone values and your mission. So make sure that you interview multiple options. We'd love for HRM services to be on that list, but I think you want to be thinking about things like financial stability of that partner that you choose. This is somebody that's been in business for long enough that I'm not going to be worried that I bring them in and then a year later they're nowhere to be found, right? So I think long-term success, financial stability should be something you're looking at. I think their service record, reaching out to other organizations that have used them, get those real-time referrals, responsiveness too, because this person might not be on site. In fact, most of these outsourcing arrangements are either remote or hybrid. They're on site as you need them, but they don't have desk space in your office every single day of the week. So that responsiveness is going to be important, making sure you're on the same page there. I would say cost obviously is a factor. Make sure that you don't get sucked in with what looks like a great deal, and then there are all these prices, or add-ons in the back end that can be really frustrating. The technology piece, making sure that who you go with has experience there and can bring some of that to you if you don't have it already. And then obviously the legal compliance, making sure that the information that they are accessing on your behalf is kept in a secure manner and that there are security protocols in place and all of that. You wouldn't want a data breach with this sort of arrangement. So lots of things to think about there. So I'm just going to close because I know this is a bit of a longer one, but this is just really a great opportunity, I think, for organizations depending on need. And we outlined that today. And of course, I wanted to introduce Terese. So thank you for being here. If you think outsourcing might be right for you, we're going to put a QR code here right in the video, and that will take you to a short questionnaire that will come directly to us. And you have the ability to just skip the questionnaire and schedule a call with us too, if that's more appropriate. So I wanted to give you a direct way to get a hold of us if you want to talk more about it. And then I also want to bring your attention to one final thing. And this is about outsourcing in general. Like as Terese said, some folks will outsource marketing or they'll outsource some of their finance functions. So it's not just HR. We have two good friends of ours that work in the EOS space that are putting on an event on May 21st from 2:30 to 5 at the Lansing Airport. And it's titled Understanding and Profiting from Fractional Professionals. So it's going to be, I'm going to be one of the panelists. There's a CFO, a fractional CFO that's going to speak. And then a lot of real client testimonials talking about how they're using these services to improve the profitability of their business. So If you're interested in that, we'd love to have you. I'm going to include a link to the flyer in the email message, but remember, you only get the email message if you're on our email list. So if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure that you subscribe and you'll get that flyer, and maybe we'll see them on the 21st. So with that, thank you for being a part of this, Terese. We appreciate it. We'll see you back in June.